Hello, you're welcome to my channel, Deritzystitch. In this channel, we're going to be discussing a lot of fashion, how to sew, how to get your fabric, how to sew very well. And then we're going to teach you from the beginning how to make a good dress. So please, I advise that you follow us episode by episode. We're going to be in all the social media, Twitter, we're going to be on Facebook, YouTube, and of course on Instagram. So look out for even on TikTok. I'll see what I can do to get it on TikTok, even just a glimpse of it, so that at least it will link you to other channels. So please just pay attention. For today, we're going to introduce the basics of sewing skills for beginners, so you will know what to start with as a beginner. So I advise that you pay attention properly. As you can see, I've lined up what we're going to be doing today. Basics of sewing skills for beginners. First, we're going to talk about accessories for sewing. Second, introduction to the parts of the body for measurements. And 3 parts of machine for measurements that are constant in sewing. So let's start with introducing the accessories for sewing. What you need to get before you even handle your fabric. You need to get a tape. You need to get a tape. And you need to get a writing pad. You need to get a writing pad and a pen. It's very necessary. You need to get a writing pad that you will need to sew, drop your measurements for your customer. You need a pen. You need a thread and a needle. You need a chalk, a tailor's chalk. You can use school chalk, you can use tailor's chalk. You need a scissors, and you need a fabric which you'll be working on. These are the things that you need, necessary things. I didn't measure machine. Why? If you have these things that I've just shown you, you can actually make a dress with or without machine. They are handmade clothes. They don't use machine. So the first time I made my clothes, I actually used my hand to make the clothes. So that's how it is. So you have to have these basic things. So let's talk about the tape. Out of all these things, we're going to talk about the tape first. We're going to talk about other things like this. So this thread, this tailor's tape, we need to know about the tape, how to read the tape. You can see there are lines on the tape. There are tiny lines. The first line, if you look at the first line from 1, you will see that there's a tiny line and there's another longer one following it, and then the other one again, and the fourth one is longer than even the second line, and the second line is longer than the one on 1. Now, how do you read this tape? Those tiny lines is 1/8. The first line from the beginning here to the first line is 1/8, and the second line is quarter. The third line is quarter plus 1/8. The fourth line is half. So that 1/8 into 4 places will give you half. So these are the basic things for you to start to sew. And if you now want to get a machine, fine, that's good. So we move to the next item on the board. This introduction to the parts of the body for measurements. So I have a diagram for it. I'm going to introduce it to you so that you'll be able to know parts of the body. In every profession, we have what we call the part of the body. Just like when we did biology those days in school, they have what they call different parts of the body. So that is how it is in every profession. In fashion, in particular, we have what we call different parts of the body. So you will see a lot of strange names that you've never come across before. You say, what's this? That's what we call it. We understand ourselves. Those of us that are designers, we understand what you're talking about. When you say, okay, this, I know what you're talking about. I know what you mean by that. And these things are there because we want to take the measurement. That's why we call those parts that particular name. And those are the points which you need to take the measurement. And that's why the diagram came this way. All those places that you saw having a line, a tip line, means that the lines there are actually for measurements. Your tape line, how to take the measurements, and they are trying to direct you how to take the measurements. So we're going to start from, it's labeled, so you can see, you can even trace it by yourself and see where it is, what it's called, so that you can relate with other designers. Please, if you want someone to take a measurement, please take this from it. You know what to call it. You know how to describe it. As you can see, this is number 1, and this is the neckline. You can call it neck, you can call it neckline. We call it neckline. So this is the bust side. You can see the bust side, number 2. This is the bust across exactly the bust side. Under the bust, you can see it from here. You can see 2A under the bust. And then you have number 3, the waist. You can see the waist exactly on where the abdomen is. That's where the waist is. The abdomen is number 4. You can see it here, this point in the middle. That's the abdomen. The hips, you can see the hips here. That's number 5. Bust span, you can see it. The bust span is between the 2 nipples on your bust. Then the bust height, you can see the bust height. The bust height is from here to here. You can see it exactly on the nipple side, from here to here. The bust height, you can see it from the neckline to here, this point, you can see it exactly on the nipple side. Now, there's something I want to say. When we are saying the bust height, width, some people don't know what you mean by height or width. Height goes vertical, while width goes horizontal. And vertical is like this, and height is like this. Width is horizontal, and width is like this. So when we say width, you should be doing it like this, and when we say height, like this. So you should understand it. So we go to the bust height. You can see number 7, the bust height. And then we'll go to the back length. You can see the back length. The back length is here, from here, the shoulder side to this place, the back length. That's it. To where the navel is, the back length. Now, the back length, the waist height, you can see the waist height, the back width. You can see the back width. From here to here, that's the back width side. Now, shoulder length. You can see the shoulder length, 11. Abdomen height is here, from here to here. And then the hip height, from waist to hip. The hip height, number 13, you see it? You see the biceps. The biceps is the larger part of the arm, the larger part where the muscle is. That's where is it. So the armhole, you can see the armhole, 14A, you can see. And then the forearm, that's here. Some people call it elbow, that's it. Then the wrist, this way, you can see it. And then the pant out seam, that's, you can see from here to down, from waist to the, depending on where the person wears it. Now you can see waist to knee. You can see waist to knee. You can also have shoulder to knee, like that. So then you have your crotch depth, from waist to this, from waist to this is your crotch. When you are sitting down, it's the same thing with like these two. The crotch is the measurement of from here to here. That is your crotch. From here to here, 18. And then the waist front to back is the crotch. Look at this, the crotch. Let's see. 18A, that is it. So from your front to your back, so that's it. So there are different measurements that you can actually take, and this is a little bit it tried, because it's actually brought out a lot of places, points that you need to take your measurements. They actually brought out a lot of points which you can, all these points here are necessary places that you have to pay attention when you are taking a measurement. So that is why you see things like this. It's emphasizing on where you need to do. There are other measurements too that is not highlighted here. As we go on, I'm going to fish them out and I will tell you about it. So now let's go to the next item on the board. Since we are done with this, please feel free and make your comments on the comment board. Whatever you don't understand, I will answer your questions. So the next one we're going to be talking about is parts of machine. We have the normal first machine, the regular machine that we have. First of all, it came out as single. Then we have the butterfly. All of them are all the same. The former machine that we have, but a lot of them are out now. Different types of machine, the electrical, you know. So we start with manual, because as a beginner, you need to start with the manual before you graduate. But you can even start with the electric. It doesn't matter. It depends on you how you can catch up fast. So we're going to start with our machine, our normal machine. I can see that this machine is something that is even common for anybody. I mean, the outlook is something that we are familiar with, being that most people that started sewing started with such machine before. Now everybody is now using different types of machines right now. So as you can see, it's already labeled, and each of all these things, they have what they do on the machine. You have to know them for you to be able to adjust your machine, instead of you to keep running to a mechanic or somebody that is going to come and touch your machine, or try to adjust, or an engineer who is going to come and adjust your machine or do anything. You need to know some certain things that you can do yourself. It could be a minor problem. Just because you don't know how to operate the machine, you keep running to a machine repair, and that will not help to save cost at all. So you have to learn how to use what all these parts are used for in your machine. First of all, when you bring a machine like this, you need to fix your thread. How does it go? Look at your thread. Your thread, this is your thread. Where you put your thread. You can see it. Where you put your thread. You put your thread here. This is your thread. Sit. You put your thread here. Then you try to follow up your thread. This is a thread take up. Then you see something, a hook that actually takes the thread. This thread, you hook your thread there, and you can see it goes into this place. You can see it goes into, and this one is the upper tension. This upper tension is actually used to adjust your thread. Your thread, some thread are thicker, some thread are lighter in the market. So you need to adjust. If it's loose, you adjust it. If it's too tight, you reduce it. That's when the thread is too tight, it's not coming out freely. This is where you adjust or even tighten. If it's coming out too freely, whichever one can make your stitches not to be very nice and smooth. So you need to make sure that you adjust your thread according to the stitches you you are expecting. So you go up again to your thread take up. This thread take up actually move the thread up and down. It actually helps to drag the thread. As it goes up and down, it's dragging the thread from this place. It actually helps and drag the thread out from the main thread. So it comes down again and it goes to the needle bar and then it goes to the needle head. Now you can see there's something here, there's a knot here on this place, on the face plate. Now this presser bar actually helps you to adjust your thread, adjust your presser foot. Your presser foot is the one that helps to hold your fabric between this bed slide and the presser foot. There's a fabric. That's where you slip in your fabric under. You slip in your fabric. Now, what do? You use this presser bar lift to lift up your presser foot, and then you slip in your fabric. When you slip in your fabric, it starts sewing. So your fabric, different as what this presser bar actually does is it helps to use it to actually hold your fabric firmer or release your fabric. If your fabric is too thick, it will not easily move under the presser foot. And if it's too light, it can be moving too fast. That will affect your stitches. So you have to be very careful how you move your thread, move your fabric, because if it's moving too fast, it might be jumping thread. You notice that sometimes you are sewing a particular dress, you notice that your thread is not sewing very well. It's jumping, and you'll be saying, oh, what's happening? I don't know what's happening. Sometimes you just need to adjust this presser bar and sew a little, keep adjusting. You can loose or you tight. So most times when the fabric is like scuba or all this polyester, you need to actually loosen it up. And when it's a cotton fabric, you need to tighten it up. So you have whichever fabric you have, you need to use this presser bar to adjust what you need, how you want your stitches to come out with. So now this bed slide is actually, it can open and close. You just drag it out here just to see what is going down, especially when you want to put your shuttle and reel under this place, the thread that comes from under. As time goes on, I'm going to show you what we mean by shuttle and reel. These are where you reel your thread, the thread down and the thread up actually sews your fabric. Now when you want to fix your shuttle under, you have to slide this bed slide. To see how you are fixing it, at least you need to see what is going on, whether you are doing it very well. So from this up, you can actually see what is going on under. Then it also helps to hold your fabric. It's also helped to make your fabric to sit very well on your bed. We call this place bed. It's like where you lay down something. You are laying down your fabric on this. It helps to actually make your fabric to sit very well. So we have the feed dog. The feed dog is the one that actually helps to be moving the fabric front, either front or back. It can move it front and back. So the feed dog is the one that helps to actually be moving the fabric forward while you are sewing. Something is moving the fabric as it's sewing, like that. So that is what this feedback does. You can see it is the one that has these two teeth. You can see it's from inside, but you can see it there. And when it's actually weak, you will find out that if it's weak, it can't move the fabric. The teeth has to be very sharp for it to be moving, taking the fabric and be moving while the needle is jumping and threading on it. So that's it. So, and this one is the balance wheel. The balance wheel, what's the balance wheel? This balance wheel helps to control. When you no longer want this to move, you don't want your machine to move, you use your hand to move. You can also use it to start your machine. So when you want to start your machine, you can use this and move it towards you, and your machine starts, threading. And when it starts threading, you find out that it's moving. When you want it to stop, you put your hand there. Once you put your hand there, it will stop. It will stop. And while you are using your leg to treadle or pedal, you notice that, okay, you want to stop, you put your hand, place your hand. That's what this balance wheel, it helps you to balance, that kind of thing. So then bobbin winder, this is where you can use it to reel your thread. The thread you put under this place, you can use it to reel your thread. When you are sewing, you can use it to, reel your thread. Then this one is a stitch regulator. This is where you regulate your stitch. It goes up and down. So it depends on the fabric, the machine that you are using. Is either when you are going up is increasing in the stitches, or when you are coming down is increasing, or when you are even going up is reducing the stitches, or when you are going down is reducing the stitches. So whichever way your machine came, you will see some of them have dotted lines with numbers there. So you will see you can start with 7, 8, 9, 10 like that. Some of them, as you go up 7, 8, 9, it reduces the stitches. Why 7 is the highest, 8 is lowest, like that. It goes like that. Why some it can be 1, 2, 3 like that. Some of them are just dotted ordinarily. So you will see them, maybe they will increase the dotted line to tell you that when you are going up, you are increasing your stitches. So you choose your stitches depending on what you want or how your fabric is. Now this is the belt. This belt links to the table. The table or which this machine will sit on. There's a table that this machine will sit on, and we're going to talk about it too. If I remove this, I will bring it in and you will see what I'm talking about. So this belt links this balance wheel. It links this balance wheel to the table, which is going to be the bed, which is going to sit on. So now, when it links it, when you are threading or you are pedaling, you will notice that this is what helps to be rolling the machine. And why this one is rolling, this machine is this balance wheel is rolling, that means this also is going up and down and is actually sewing on your fabric. And when it's sewing, everything is moving according to this. There must be either rope or rubber here. If not, your machine will not sew. Unless it's a hand machine. We have different types of machine. So, but this particular one, you need a thread, like either a rubber, a rope, to link this to the down of the table. That will help to be, winding the machine. When it's winding, this will be sewing your fabric. So I think we have touched everything here. If you have questions, please feel free to make your comments on the comment box. I will respond. Or you send me a private mail, I will respond to your messages. So let's go over to the last, okay, not the last, but the one that is following this one. That is the down of the machine. So we're going to be talking about this one again. That's the down of the machine. And you can see that. Okay, so we're going to be talking about this. This is the leg I'm talking about. This is the machine we just finished discussing right now. And then we have this, and you can see the rope linking to this leg down here. So this sits on this place, which you are familiar with. This is the leg of the machine. You can actually sew without this. You can sew without this, or you can sew that. That's when you want to use the motor. There's something, as time goes on, we see all that. If you want to use, this is manual way of using this machine. And if you want to now use motor, you have to disconnect. That also have a rubber that controls it, but the motor is going to sit on the table here, and then you connect it. But this can the here, because the way this thing is designed is like a box, because the engine of this machine that actually controls everything that is going on here is actually inside, like a box, like a box inside. So you can see that this one, we already treated this place, we already treated this place. So we're going to actually like talk about this down area, which was not on the first diagram. So as you can see, this is a treadle where you actually pedal, where you put your 2 foot. By the time you turn this wheel will move this place, and it will tell you where to match on, where to put pressure. That's why your starting point is always here. This stop motion is, you call it stable regulator, like where we saw it the other place. You try to push it forward to yourself. You see this place moving, because you can see this thread is always linked to this place. So that is how this works. So we're going to pick them one by one and see the labeling. Now, the belt guide. That's the belt guide here. You can see it's round. It's round. Now, the belt guide is, there's something here that actually helps to hold the belt so that it will not move away from here. So it's here. It helps to guide the belt. Now, we have the band wheel. This is where the thread goes, this round place where the thread goes. Now, we have the belt shift. Whenever you don't want this belt to be here, or you want to fix the belt, you want to adjust the belt, there's something you just clip. When you clip and you try to turn this stop motion here, you notice the thread will go off. In case you want to carry this machine away, you must remove this thread or this rope before you can lift this machine away from this place. So that's the belt shift. So once you do like this and roll, the belt removes by itself. That's what you use in many. So this is a brace. Just a brace is something that connects. It's all, there's no big deal what this is doing. Some machines don't even have it. Don't have this. So the pitman, this is the pitman. This pitman, you can see the connection between here and this place. Between this place. Once you move this top wheel, you will see that this place will start rolling. This place will start rolling. This one, once you roll, this one pedals. And once this one pedals, this one is connected to this one. This one will start rolling. We start rolling. So if any of this thing, like for example, this one, this hook on hook, you already have a problem. So this is not going to help to actually roll this place. Try to, roll it. So this is where it's rolled from. So once you pedal your machine, this one gives signal to this place. This one start rolling, and that's when it's these are brace bolts. Just a bolt that is here that is holding everything together. The bolts, the brace bolts. This you can see there's a bolt that is actually holding. I will show you on my own machine as time goes on. You will see the brace bolt that is hooked. It must not have problem too. It's very important. This is the leg of the machine, and this is a dress guide. So now this dress guide is just this one here actually covers this rope so that it's not going to be exposed. It's inside. You can't see the thread from here. It goes round like this and come like so. It covers it from anything obstructing or trying to hook on each of all this, everything, all this rod outside. So that's the down leg. This is the leg of this and the bed or the table, whatever you want to call it. So as you can see, these are the things that you need, a basic for your sewing. You need it. Like this machine, nothing can obstruct you from sewing. Whether you have light or not, you can use it. So it's always good for a beginner. You don't have much finance. You need to start with something like this. So we're going to go to measurements that are constant in sewing. Now, for adults. So waist to hip is 8 inches in adults. Abdomen height 2.5 for adults. Bust height 9 inches for adults. And armhole height is 6.5. So these are one of the basic things in adults, that when you are taking a measurement, if I want to measure my bust, you use 9 inches. It's constant. However, it's not like there are no exception. For example, you are making dress for a physical challenge person. All that might just change. So when we're talking about something that is normal, when you want to, the body is normal, everything is normal, that is what the ideal, that's what it is. So we're going to go and look into how we can combat this to children. I'm going to give you a table how to combat. If you want to, actually you are making the same thing for a child of so age, this age to this age. How do you do it from this age to this age? So you actually know how to, apply it for kids. So okay, if I want to take a constant measurement that I usually use in adults, I have to reduce it when I am making kids clothes from 0 to 5 years, as you can see on the chart. If a particular measurement on adult dress is 12, I will use 8 inches for the girl. And if it's 10, I will use 6. If it's 8, I will use 5. If it's 6, I will use 4. If it's 4, I will use 2.5. And if it's 3, I will use 2. And if it's 2 and 1.5. As time goes on, you will see how I apply this on the dress I want to make. And you will get what I am saying. Because if you can't use, for example, let's say from waist to hip, like what I gave you an example, that you will use 8 inches from waist to hip. Then if I want to make for my little girl, I will want to use 8 again. No, that will not work. So I have to know, how do I convert? Since that one is constant, I will have to convert it to fitting for the girl. So what does 8 represent here? 8 represents 5. So that means from my daughter's waist to her hip, it will be 5. From 0 to 5 years. So as they are adding up, that's how you'll be adding your measurements. So you will know the exact measurement. For example, the dress I'm wearing, if I want to make it exactly for my daughter and I want it to be uniform, I was okay, they have length of this, or this is that, and the neckline is this one, then I'll know what to use. So that's how it goes. For example, this neckline is, for me to get this neckline, the width is actually 2.5. If I want to do this dress for my daughter, what does 2.5 represent here? I will go and look for what 2.5 represents here. Now, I don't have 2.5, but I have 2. So I will look at what 2 represent here. I will take it there and listen. And if I want to use 2.5, 2.5 should be in between here and here. 2.5 is in between 3 and 2. So if it's in between 3 and 2, I can even say, okay, I will use 1 3/4 or this 1.5. So what is between these 2 and and 1.5. So that is how you are going to be working out this, so you know what to use. So this table is very important. You have to keep it if you want to make kiddies. So when I see some kiddies clothes, you see the kiddies clothes, it looks awful on the little girl, because maybe the half length is supposed to be here, it's lying on the hip, because they didn't take proper measurement. They are using adult measurement for the baby, and that's why they will miss it out. So it's not the same when you are making for a child. So we have constant measurement for adults and we have constant measurement for kids. So we should pay attention. You might think that all those things are not necessary. So now we're going to go over to tell you how the measurements that you actually take when you want to measure a particular dress. I will just do skirts for now. Then as time goes on, I will emphasize in other ones so that you'll be able to get it little by little. So that's where I'll wrap up my program for today, when I finish telling you, so that the next time we come up, the next episode, we're going to be cutting a skirt. So I'm going to give you something to go home to think about, so that you know that, okay, this is what we're going to be expecting, and we're going to be making a dress, and we're going to be making a skirt, and we're expected to have this basic measurement for this skirt. So you can even go home, since I've taught you how to use your tape, you can even go home and use your tape to take this measurement, following the diagram that I have already to give you what you require to take a measurement. As time goes on, I'm going to pick a particular dress and then tell you what you expected to take on the person's body before you start cutting your fabric. So these are the basic measurements you need to make any skirts. You need the waist, you need the hip, you need the skirt length, and you need the knee length for every skirt. However, there are some skirts you don't really need the hip, and there are some skirts you don't even need the knee length, and those skirts. However, every skirt has where it starts and where it ends, and that's one thing you must have. You must have waist, you must have skirt length. The reason why some skirts you might not need the hip, you might not need the hip. When you're making a flare skirt, you don't need the hip. It's the waist you need, the waistline. And once you get the waist, you just measure your waists and you measure where the skirt is going to stop. That's the skirt length and the waist. And the hip is not necessary, because whatever you measure on the waist is going to cover up for the hip. The hip is loose, so it can just enjoy my program. If you really enjoy this, please, I beg you, just subscribe so that you'll be able to be seeing me on the social network all the time. Please, you're looking for in fashion, we started from the scratch, and please follow episode by episode, because that's how we're going to do. We're going to label it episode 1, episode 2 is going to come like a series. So please follow us on all the social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, or we're on WhatsApp, we're on Facebook, we're on virtually all the data. You can email us, and like on this screen you can see our number, and then you can even text us, you can talk to us, we will respond to you immediately. Please feel free to call us at any time. We'll be able to respond, and if we're not around, we'll be able to respond whenever we're around. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe so that you'll be able to get the next episode. Make sure you subscribe so that you'll be able to get the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. I'm grateful. Bye.